Hey, welcome to the channel. Appreciate you being here. Today I'm going to review Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I know it's been out for like 3 years, but I recently did my first playthrough, and so I want to talk about it. So from the get-go, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is a beautiful game that is well constructed, has a great story, a really enjoyable story, and can be faltered a little bit by the player and what the player does. I want to go through all of that. I want to go through the different parts that I feel make a game on whether or not it's good or bad, and then give a scoring toward the end of the video. Really appreciate you being here. If you would, leave a like, hit the subscribe button. That all would be appreciated. You know the whole YouTube mantra. So let's get into the game. First off, I love to look at graphics. Graphics are things that I really feel make the game, break the game. In this one in particular, I'm not huge on the whole cartoonistic effect type thing. Of course, unless I'm playing something that's supposed to be a cartoon like South Park. But I feel that this is a fantasy story that's more based in a reality type setting. And so I would like to see more realistic type trends. But with that being said, I'm not going to fault this game because the cartoon effect that they did, the animations that happen, the cutscenes that are given are both intriguing and enticing and well performed, well made, that I'm not going to fault this at all. There is a well done game with the artistic style that's given that earns this few brownie points. As far as story play goes, it starts off and it gives you these 3 different shrines that you're supposed to be able to level up your character by getting these spirit orbs and then trading those spirit orbs for things that actually improve your stats, such as more heart containers or more stamina. They do an interesting progression in the fact that you have these 3 shrines that give you these 3 different abilities, on whether you have chronosis, stasis, or magnesis, and that are going to be used throughout the entire game. And they also give you this bomb throwing type thing. I can't remember exactly where that comes into play at the current stage, but you have these different abilities that get used outside of both your sword and your bow, and that part actually starts confounding the gameplay a little bit for me personally. And so I do fault in the fact that when you're in a boss fight, you're needing to use these different abilities unbeknownst to you, not really knowing what you're doing. And you get these mystic type quotes that say, look at this when he's doing this, or look at that when he's doing that. And it's like, yeah, I've looked at it for about 30 minutes. What the heck do you want me to do? And so I don't like puzzle solving. I love solving puzzles. I don't like puzzle solving when something's trying to kill me because I'm focused on dodging attacks and I'm focused on staying alive. And I don't want to have to sit here and try and figure out how to make something incapacitated just so I can get some strikes off. That's not how I gameplay. That's not how I really want to do it. I want to when I puzzle solve, what I want to do is throw a gas can at an enemy and then shoot it with a bullet because that's cool. And so I can't fault Zelda. I know that Zelda does that all the time. I understand that. It's just not my choice that I really enjoy doing. I know that I'm probably going to get some flack for that. That's fine. But that's just a personal opinion and what I believe gaming should be. If I have a boss fight, I want to kill the boss. I don't want to have the boss become, invulnerable, and then sit there and try and figure out how to make it vulnerable so that I can actually attack it and actually do some damage. That always sticks in my side because I'm not one to try and puzzle solve in the middle of conversations. Like if I'm fighting, I'm fighting. If I'm not fighting, then I'm not fighting. Anyway, so backing up from that, we talked about graphics. We talked about a little bit of the gameplay mechanics in general. I want to talk about story now. The story set forth is a decent premise. It definitely gives you different arcing steps that you need to progress in order to actually win the game. But there are many things that you could do, couldn't do, that will alter the story, that will change the story, and ultimately give you it gives you the freedom. It makes you miss parts of the story that could be crucial, could be interesting. So there's a very, I wouldn't say linear. There's an optional linear path that is given to you at the beginning. You do have to do the Great Plateau and get all of your abilities and then talk to the king and understand the story because you've woken up from a state that's giving you a huge amnesia boost, a huge amnesia fault in which you can't remember anything. And so you do have to do everything that's on the Great Plateau, just an area of the map that gives you one spirit or one improvement, such as a heart or a spirit orb or a stamina container, by trading in your spirit orbs, and then moving forward from that in order to get progressed in the game. You run into, you eventually go to Kariko Village and talk to Impa, and you get this set forth open arcing of doing whatever you want. She tells you to go to Hatento. I can't remember. I can't say the names. Not a Zelda person, but anyway, Hateno area to talk to this little researcher lady or experiment scientist person who gives you more information and more abilities. And so with that, you don't actually have to do any of that. You could actually go fight the main boss, the ending boss, right then and there. You don't even have to try and progress yourself or get ready for the boss fight or any of that. You can go straight to the ending and fight the boss, which I feel is an awesome and cool gameplay mechanic for the game. But I feel like it falls flat for the game itself because when I finished my playthrough, I didn't even understand the story apparently, because when I went back to try and 100% and get all the different memories and get all the different shrines and all the Kuroko seeds and everything, I start learning things and finding different story pieces that I was like, I didn't understand that this character felt this way. I didn't understand that these people had this certain thing about, everybody was downing on Link and everything. And I totally from the aspect of it was thinking that like, yeah, some people had some issues, but some people really thought that he was who he was supposed to be and that he was going to do well and that sort of stuff. And so when looking at some of these memories, the 4 grand champions are all thinking, they're the best. Of course, they're the grand champion of their area, so they have a right to have some sort of egotistical outcome from being named the great champion of their area. But I just felt that I was taken aback and double stepped with noticing that like, even Zelda didn't really think Link was that great, and that, all sorts of different stuff. I mean, just, it's been 3 years, so I'm over here just spilling spoilers and all that sort of stuff. But moving on from that, story is well thought out and well done. It's very interesting to me that you would allow players to be able to bypass all of that story and not really understand what the heck they're playing. And then you can just play through it. You're not required to go get the sword that seals the darkness, which I always called the Sword of Truth or Swords of Revealing Light or something like that, just because jokes and gimmicks. But even with that, I feel like the story is well done. I just find it interesting, the gameplay mechanic of skipping all of it. And so I'm not going to knock it for that, but it's an interesting take for me that you would develop all this sort of stuff and not have the player experience all of that stuff. The next part that I feel actually did a hit on it, I'm not trying to do a hit piece here, but there's a definite hit with once you're given the 4 beasts and you're supposed to go tame the 4 beasts, you don't even know which one you're supposed to go to. I started going toward Zora's Domain and doing the elephant and doing the water one. And as I was going there, enemies were one-shotting me. If I messed up one thing and one thing alone, like one misstep, one misdodge, being hit by an arrow or electricity, explosion from an arrow or anything like that, I was one shot. I was immediately dead. And so I thought, okay, I'm in the wrong area. I can't sustain any of these hits. There's no way that I'm going to be able to do this or finish this. And so the next thing that I did was I went to a different one. The next closest one was the camel, right? And so going to the camel, it's like, oh, I, made it out to the little bazaar that's before the city. And I was like, this is okay. This is interesting. This is good. I haven't really had to fight enemies or anything. Maybe this is the place that I'm supposed to be at. And luckily for me, I was streaming it, and people who had played the game a ton because it's been out for a while came in and started telling me, he's like, oh, what are you doing this one for? Oh, this one's way too hard. There's no way that you're going to be able to do this. Da, 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 da. And I tried for a long time to go blind playthrough, but it was taking me so long that I just couldn't. I just had to start getting people to give me hints, just due to the fact that since it's so open, since the game design is so open and allowing you to do whatever you wanted to do, it makes it so difficult to actually progress because you can't really tell what you're supposed to do or what's going on. And so I feel it's a big drawback to the game in general. You're going to have people stumbling around for hours and hours trying to figure out how to play your game. And so I personally don't like that. Don't think that that's conducive to an actual good game. I don't think that that's really well done. It's just as simple. This whole thing kind of goes out the window. It's kind of good when you talk to Impa and she tells you to go out and tame the fourth beast, that someone there in the room or someone in the town that's really close by gives you the impression that you should probably either go fight the bird first or the elephant first. That direction in and of itself is pretty easy. Then after the end of each one of the missions for the divine beasts and stuff, once you get one of those, it should point you to the next one. So either whether you go to the elephant first, which is actually where I should have probably gone first, or whether you go to the bird first, it should direct you to the next one and then direct you to the fire one and then direct you to the camel, just due to the fact that each one of those steps is going to help you in the long run be able to progress forward. And I really kind of wish that they had done that they had, directed you a little bit better in order for you to get more out of it. With all of that, it's time for scoring metrics. Like I said, graphics were not necessarily my favorite thing, but it does well for the game. Story is well fleshed out, but story is not presented very well for my personal opinions. Combat is a little iffy. It's all about timing, and it's about puzzle solving in the middle of your combat. And so while I don't necessarily like many parts of this game, I do feel like the game is a good game. It's well done. Animations are really good. Different jokes are pretty stellar. And it gives you an option and a freedom to do what you need to do without having to be, so linearly driven as the fact of like, there's only 8 feet of gameplay and there's a single hall that you have to run down. So I will not fault this very hard. I know a lot of people like it. I'm going to give it a 7.5. I know that seems kind of on the lower end or whatever, but it's just it's so open and so out there that you can do whatever you want, that it makes the game very difficult to actually be super pleased with, from my personal, perspective. So, I hope you'll have a great day. There's my whole rant on the entire thing. It's been a while since it's been out, but it's my first playthrough, so I'm gonna make a video on it. Enjoy y'all being here. I enjoyed that you gave me the view. Really appreciate it. Here's some more content that you might not like. You're probably like, screw this guy. I really enjoy this game, and you're just, you've got nothing nice to say about it, so screw you. I understand. But I want you to have a beautiful day, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Deuces. See you later. Adios. I'm out of here. Bye-bye.